here's a section or a group of information that often gets sort of like, where do I put this? And that is volunteering, or as I tend to categorize it on a resume, community involvement. It's just, I know that's just a language thing, right? That's just a simple word choice. Instead of volunteering, I say community involvement. And I think the reason that I like it a little bit better is it denotes more leadership, it denotes more connectivity, it denotes, engagement in the community and a pride, like I do this for my community, I believe in this, a little bit more than volunteering. Sort of associate volunteer with free. And when people hear free, they tend to think that something that's free has no value. And I don't want anyone to think that just because you volunteer, you have no value. Or, right, even if that happens subconsciously when someone reads it, I don't want that to happen for a client. So that's why I always tend to say community involvement for that section. Even if everything in your community involvement section is technically volunteering, I just want to package it a little bit differently so that it's ingested a little bit differently when it's read. So your community involvement experience or your volunteering experience, I would normally put this in a section all its own, especially if you have like 2, 3 or more volunteer experiences that you wanted to highlight. If you have a whole lot of volunteer experience, if you really volunteer a lot, I would, again, edit that down and make sure that it is just the ones that are more relevant, or the ones that show more leadership, or the ones that are just overall more involved, more work. Those are the ones that I would focus on. Also, just like with your work experience, I wouldn't go all the way back and highlight every volunteer experience you've ever had. So again, I would keep it somewhat current. Try and keep it within the last 5 to 10 year time frame if you have a whole lot. Even if you don't have a whole lot, I should probably clarify here. Like if you volunteered twice in the early 90s, don't put that on your resume. That's not relevant anymore. I mean, like, good for you. That was nice of you back then. But if you're not doing it now, or if it hasn't been somewhat recently, I wouldn't include that on your resume. All that does is highlight the fact that you haven't volunteered since the early 90s. So better to leave that off.